Welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. Coming up on today's episode, chaos with Carlos as Brazil goes into meltdown. Nuno wants Kelleher, but at what price? An embarrassment with Forest in pre-season yet again. And more kids incoming, this time from Celtic. All this and plenty more coming up on your Forest news. Let's get into it. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Forest news. And my God, has it been a 24 hours in the world of Nottingham Forest. If you're enjoying the content, as always, please don't forget to hit that like button. Can we get 600 likes? I'll leave that up to you guys. Check what the count is just below the video. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. And tonight we have the England watch along, and it's gonna be all new. It's gonna be me and Nikki, Crypto, and you guys. We'll be bringing up a couple of you guys to come watch the game with us. So make sure you've scanned this barcode, get yourself on playback, follow us on playback as well. We'll be on YouTube tonight and playback. It's going to be, well, nervy. Anyway, let's jump into this, guys, because so much I need to update you on. And we're going to start with Carlos Miguel, who, as we've told you, is basically a red. But there's all kinds of chaos going off. Literally, the whole of the Corinthians fan base hate him. He's done all kinds of shithousery right now. So let me catch you up, right? Basically, he was having a medical with Forest, and that went through fine and smooth. We tweeted it out. Make sure you're following us on our socials. And that all went fine. He then went back to Corinthians for a training session. But he then just declared himself out. He said he's hurt his ankle and he can't train with them because his mind is over at the City ground. And that made their manager absolutely explode. Antonio Oliveira literally went on a rant. Let me give you what he said. So he goes, "No, Carlos Miguel no longer plays for Corinthians. I've said it and I've said it in this group. Only those who want to be here at the club do it passionately, and many of those who are in this position today should realize that many people dream of being able to represent one of the biggest clubs. It bothered me," he went on to say. "It bothers me. And Carlos Miguel won't be playing for Corinthians anymore." Boom. He literally let rip. And this has just got the Corinthians fan base completely now against Carlos Miguel. And he's just going to jet ski out of it and come across to Forest. But it does raise some questions. Look, how do you feel about this is my question to you guys. Because there's two sides to it, isn't there? You can say that this is now his dream move to get across to European football, to play in the Premier League. But most importantly, to play for the two stars right here. And you get that, and he wants it done and dusted. Obviously, Forest, I feel, are trying to hold out payment until the 1st of July. But either way, what if we flip this round? What if in a year or two's time, the giant that is Carlos Miguel has lit up the Premier League, and then suddenly his head's turned by a Real Madrid or something? Will we see the same antics from him that he served up to the Corinthians? How do you guys feel about it? For me right now, I'm like, cool, he wants to come to Forest because we're on the good side of this freaking explosion that's going on over across in Brazil. But could this play out funny for Forest going forward? I don't know. Get your thoughts in down below. And then, just to double this up, there are reports coming out that my number one keeper choice, Kelleher from Liverpool, is high on Nuno's agenda list. But the reports are suggesting, and I think I've seen it in a few places, that Liverpool will want £35 million for him. With Slot Machine just coming into Liverpool right now, he's still got to get his keepers in order. Adrian still hasn't signed a new contract. Apparently he's refused. They could just be down to Alisson if they went to sell Kelleher and Adrian decides to leave Liverpool. But I don't think this one's going to happen. 35 mil is too much for him. I do rate him, but not that highly. I think his transfer value is only at about 15 to 20 mil. And I don't really rate the sources that these stories are coming from. I want to believe it because I would like him in. But at the same time, what does that mean for Miguel? And I do not want Forest to put themselves in the situation that we did last year, where we ended up with Vlachodimos and Turner both claiming to be #1 goalkeepers, neither really coming to the forefront. Could we end up with a Kelleher and a Miguel both trying to fight out at #1, beef happening at Forest, Miguel faking an ankle injury or something in, complete anger? I just think if we've got Miguel over the line, 3.5 million, he's good. He does need some work, but I think he can do it. And I think maybe put Sells as a backup, get rid of Vlachodimos, get rid of Turner, and let's just start from there. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me or not? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, let's move on to the next story. And I've been trying to warn you guys over the last week or two about Forest pre-season. In fact, I think I've been trying to warn myself as well about it, because I've been saying since basically we came back in the Premier League, I think our pre-seasons have been atrocious. To be honest, before that in the Championship, they weren't that great, but hey, it was Championship pre-seasons. We saw the likes of Fulham, we saw the likes of Brentford going out to the USA tour last year in the summer series, playing the likes of Man United, Liverpool out there, I think Real Madrid and a few others. Real high pedigree apart from Man U teams. And Forest were going and playing in front of a park with a goddamn white van in the background and thorn bushes. And that was the standard of our pre-season. Go and look at the stadiums that they were in that summer series. Sell-out stadiums, everyone coming to watch the match. It's a whole new market and a whole new audience out there in America. Or even in Asia, there was tours I think that Spurs went on in that summer there. And Forest were playing in front of an empty goddamn park. Yes, okay, we had a couple of other pre-seasons. We went and played PSV and what have you. But there's no, I'm looking at this from about 2 or 3 different aspects. Why am I so annoyed with this? Because Forest need revenue and Forest need new revenue streams. So instead of maybe putting the ticket prices up, had they booked themselves onto one of these summer series tours, that in itself would generate a lot of income. On top of that, it would expose us to these new markets, creating potentially new international Forest fans who would then want to buy the new season kit, who would then take an interest in Forest, who would then spread the word and help Forest grow. That's one aspect of it. Secondly, in a pre-season, if I hear the goddamn phrase minutes in legs, don't you lot start writing that in the comments down below. Why would I say that? Obviously now. Anyway, if I hear that stupid phrase this pre-season, I am going to lose my shit. And on top of that, it needs to be competitive matches. I want us playing against other Premier League teams. Okay, there's a few that would like to see Forest maybe play Real or a Barca for the prestige of the match, for the exposure. But I'm just quite happy if we could have competitive games in the pre-season. And it blows my mind that you look at it, at the hierarchy of Forest, and think to yourself, who's putting this stuff together? Because I'm telling you, we're not going to America. We're going to end up in Spain. We're going to then play Notts County. This one that's been lined up against Chesterfield is for the 13th of July. Again, away from home in a crappy little stadium. Not going to generate much revenue at all. And it just seems our pre-seasons, we just don't learn. 3rd year now. And both previous pre-seasons, we've come into the Premier League with the team not ready, with the squad not ready, with the tactics not ready, or anything like that. And yes, we started away from home from those 2 games, but we have 3 winnable games starting at the City Ground. And it's so important that we win our first game. And that's why I'm getting frustrated about it. That we could go and knock the preseason out the park, cool. And a lot of people saying, what do you care? It's only a preseason, no one cares about it and what have you. I don't care about winning the games. I care about cohesion. I care about the revenue streams that need to be generated from tours. And we are not doing it. But do you guys agree with me or not? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, let's move on to the kiddie section, because it seems to be every single day we've got a new kiddie to link to Nottingham Forest. And today's new kiddie is Rocco Vata from Celtic. The 19-year-old striker, well, kind of more of a number 10, is set to leave Celtic as he has rejected a contract from them and is out of contract. But there are other clubs interested in the kid, from Watford to Bologna, I think it was, and Como as well. But Forest will still have to pay Celtic if this goes through. There are rules and regulations when it comes to taking kids from academies, even if they go out of contract. And Forest have had bids and offers rejected already on him, as have Bologna. Now, I can't sit here and say I've ever seen him play. Maybe we'll talk to Antonio about him, see if he knows much about him, if this does develop further. But what I want to talk about is this whole kid philosophy right now. I am on board with it, but it's kind of getting to the stage now that we'll probably need to think about changing Mull of Kintyre to Kylie Minogue and Robbie Williams' song Kids. You know, the kids are on board, man. Jump up high and all that stuff. Because it's getting a little bit ridiculous. As I've said in previous videos, maybe we should be doing these after we've sorted our first team out, towards the end of the transfer window. Yes, if there's a little gem here or there that the club have scouted, then pick them up. But the fact still remains that we are now 5 days away from the transfer deadline, in quotes, of the 30th of June. And we still haven't seen Worrell leave. We've had no further updates on the Mangala deal, and we don't know what's going on with Murillo and Morgan Gibbs-White, as they have both gone really quiet in terms of transfer speculation. And I am starting to worry, to the point where we're going to be talking to a few experts this week. We'll bring on good friend Kieran Maguire, hopefully towards the end of the week, to discuss what's happening with Forest finances, as this is now getting way too close to the edge of the fire. And more importantly than that, there are all the new PSR pals that are happening right now. And we're going to be talking to Lewis Steele from the Daily Mail, and that video should be out for you this afternoon. To get a better understanding of how these loopholes are working, he's released an excellent article in the Daily Mail. If you haven't read it, I'll leave it in the description somewhere for you. But be prepared to watch that video, as it's going to give you a real insight into what is happening, because the Premier League are now threatening to scrutinise every single deal. Why? Because this isn't Big Six doing these deals. It's the likes of Everton, Forest, Villa, Newcastle, etc. Okay, Chelsea are poking their nose in, but when have they not? And yet no one is saying anything about Chelsea buying a hotel and selling it to themselves to loophole PSR. We're going to have a really interesting conversation with Lewis about it all. But coming back to the point about the kids, I'm more than happy with Forest's strategy. One, because we seem to have a strategy this time. It's not freaking Football Manager FIFA settings right now. There seems to be a bit of cohesion and coordination about what's going on. But it just feels a bit too extreme on the kids' side. Let's get the players out, the deadwood, quote unquote, that needs to go in the next 5 days. And then I think we're going to see quite a tasty spending session from Forest come the 1st of July. Because Forest will be fully fledged at the 105 mark. And I think Marinakis has big ambitions. We're hearing the players talking about we trying to finish top 8 next season. Now they're coming up to my ambition. That's what we want to see. But can it happen? We need a good transfer window. That brings you up to date with your Forest news. Don't forget, we'll be back later with a video with Lewis from the Daily Mail, the watch along for England, and don't forget to follow us on Playback if you haven't already, and help us expand Forest Fan TV. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.